Good afternoon, students. Myself, Sanat Kumar Swain. I'll be taking the class of organizational behavior. So today is the first class, and we'll be discussing about the introduction to organizational behavior. So, what is an organizational behavior? Okay. We need to discuss the behavioral attitude, behavioral aspects in an organization. Okay. So if we go to the introduction, we'll see that the study of organization and of the collection of the people within them together comprises the field of organizational behavior. Okay. So organizational behavior is also the study of human behavior. Okay. We need to find out the behavior, the human behavior in an organizational setting. Okay. How he behaves in an organization and how his behavior impact the organizational expectations. Okay. So what is the behavior? Okay. If we see in an organizational setting, the behavior which impact the individual or a group or the entire organizational setup, so that is known as organizational behavior, and how it is how we need to apply various kinds of techniques, how we need to apply various kinds of processes which can improve the organizational or effectiveness is known as organizational behavior. So you see, now what is an organizational behavior? If you can check this photo, you will see the picture. You will say that this is a small aspect of an individual. Okay. Within the individual, you will see that a group is involved, and with that group is also in part of the organization. So this is individual comes mini, and the group is the macro, and the organization is the meso part. So if you see individual, the individual is a part of a group and the group is a part of an organization. Okay. So the behavior, the way an individual performs in a group subsequently affects the group, and the group affects the complete organization. Okay. So what is the definition of organization? Organization can be defined in three significant aspects. One is social invention, second is accomplishing goals, and the third is group effort. Okay. So what is social invention? What do you mean by social invention? Social invention is, let's say, for example, a person has an idea. Okay. You have an idea and you want to set up an organization. So you have to make like-minded people. All the like-minded people, they come together and they say like, okay, let's start up an organization. Okay. So there is like a social invention. Okay. A person invents and he or she they think that, okay, let us start up an organization, and subsequently an organization starts up. Okay. Now accomplishing the goal. Okay. So if we see that after starting the organization, the primary goal of the organization is that to obey the goal, and the goal is interrelated. Okay. Interrelated with the personal goal of the individual, those who are associated with the organization. Okay. And the third is group effort. So group effort is also one of the important aspects of an organizational behavior. So the group has to perform well, they have to work as an organized team so that the organization can achieve its goal. Now, organizations are social systems. Okay. If we talk about organizational behavior, we'll see that organizational behaviors are like social systems. Any organization, if you see, that may be a social organization, it may be an economic organization, there may be a commercial organization, there are a lot of organizations. So if you see, those organizations are social systems which are operating in our society. Okay. So it is a combination. Okay. It's a combination of humanity and technology. Okay. For example, various organizations, they are working for the humanitarian approach, there are technical approaches are there. Okay, so various organizations has got their various approaches and they are working in the society. So we need to see how an organizational behavior is the study of the knowledge of how people act within an organization. Okay, we see, like, for example, there are various elements. Okay, there are various elements which affect an organizational behavior. Okay. What are those? You see, the first one is employee, or you can say simply people. Okay, they are very important part of an organizational pyramid. If you say it's a pyramid, if we consider an organization as a pyramid, we'll see that the very utmost important part of an organization are its employee. Okay, everything depends on an employee, how they perform, how they perform their task, whether they are adaptive to the organization or not. Okay, so these are the elements concerning to an employee. Now the structure we can say, for example, every organization has its own structure, every organization has its own culture. We can say it structure, or we can also call it as a culture. Okay, so that also plays a very important part of being an important element in an organizational behavioral structure. Okay. So if you see the MNCs, the multinational organizations today, if you go to a MNC office in Delhi, okay, and subsequently you visit the same organizational office in Mumbai, you will see that there is a similarity. There is a similarity between the structural, there is a similarity between the way it works. There is a similarity between the culture, the pattern, the way it is functioning. So similarities remains. So that is very important. In today's world, you will see most of the organizations, they are investing tremendously so that the structure remains. For example, I'll give you a very basic example. If you go to a Starbucks, okay, Starbucks coffee, or let's say CCD, Coffee Cafe Day, you will find the same theme, the same culture. Whether you are visiting it in Bhubaneswar, you are visiting it in Delhi, you are visiting it in elsewhere, you'll find out that the culture, the structure, the way it is functioning, it remains the same. Okay. The third is technology. Okay. The technology also plays an important part. What kind of technology we are putting into the organizational aspects. Okay. In the organizational structure, what kind of technologies we are adapting, we are putting into use, that also plays a very important role in structuring the organizational behavior. Okay, some may be using the traditional technology, some may be using the most advanced technology. Okay, so that also plays a very important role in shaping the organizational behavior of any kind of organization. Okay. Now the fourth is social system. Now what is a social system? A social system within an organization. Social system will, if we go into deep, we'll see that we are a part of that organization. We should have kind of alignment, akinment with the organization we are working for. Okay, it's not like we are just working for the sake of money and 9 to 5 job. After that, we are least bothered about the organization we are working for. No, it's not like. There's a system, a social system we are bound with. We are bound, all the employees are bound together in a social system, and that plays a very important role in shaping the organizational behavior. We have to be our social system in any organization we work for, that should be very strong. If that is not strong enough, then obviously the organizational structure, it collapses. Okay. So we have to give utmost importance to the social system, any kind of organizational setup we are working for. And on the fifth, we'll see environment. The environment also plays extremely important role in shaping the organizational behavior, organizational setup of any kind of institutions. Okay. What is the environment? The surroundings. Okay, the surroundings we have been working for. So some way the structure and environment are somewhat, there is a similarity between the structure and the environment. Okay, the structure, or we can say the culture or the environment, more closely related. Okay, so most of the organization, they give greater emphasis to the structure, to the culture, to the environment, so that the people working over there, they do not find being isolated, or they are being left out, or they are being, they're working in a remote area, which is which might affect, which might hamper their performance, or their the way they are working for. So to cope up with that, most of the organizations, they give very much importance to these particular areas. So when people join the organization to accomplish any kind of goal or any kind of activities, so they use many kind of machineries, many kind of electronic gadgets and technologies are involved. So that influences, that shapes the organizational structure and the organizational behavior as a whole. Okay, so organizations are defined as social arrangements as per Ugzinski in 1997 and Buchanan. They said that organizations are defined as social arrangements which are being constructed by the people who can also change the, which has been created by the people, and they are also a part of it, and they can also change it. Okay, the organizational structure. And OB is also concerned with the study of the structure and its function, its the way it performs, or the organizational behavior of groups and the individuals. Okay. Now, if we see what is the importance of organizational behavior, why are we going to study organizational behavior? Is it really required in these days? Why would you study organizational behavior? See, this the simple word, like if we talk about organizational behavior in a layman term, we'll see that organizational behavior. What do you mean by behavior? The behavior, the way we behave in a particular setting is known as our behavioral attitude. So if that is in an organizational setting, so that is organizational behavior. The way we behave, the way we perform, our behavior directly affects our performance in any kind of organizational setting. Okay. Now, what is the importance right now? Why are we going to study organizational behavior in this particular time? So, if you see that there are this is the time of globalization. This is the time of globalization era. Okay, the world is a small village. It's a very small village. So people are traveling from one place to another. They are, it's not. It's a global village. Right now, it's a global village, and it is leading towards globalization. Okay, so if we respond to globalization, okay, if we are responding to globalization, for example, an MNC, let's consider an MNC or an IT company which is based out at in Bangalore. Let's take, for example, Infosys or TCS or Accenture. There are a lot of IT companies who are working out of Bangalore or the Silicon Valley in USA. So they have multiple offices. They have multiple offices in multiple countries, in multiple locations. Okay, and they have a workforce of maybe thousands. Okay, so it becomes very, very important for the company to understand their organizational behavior attitude of their employees if they are to respond to the globalization. Okay, if if not, if we are not, if that organization, if that particular organization is not adaptive to the organizational behavior, then it is pretty much sure that it will be left out. It will be left out in the globalization. Secondly, managing the workforce diversity. So as I said that any organization, any IT organization, information technology companies who are working worldwide, they definitely have a workforce diversity. They have a diverse workforce. Okay, people from around the globe, they are working for that companies. Okay, so if they are not sensitive towards the organizational behavior of their companies, and that becomes immensely difficult for the companies to perform in the market. That becomes extremely difficult for them. Okay, how this impacts, we'll discuss later. We're just discussing about that importance and how that will impact, we'll discuss in the next. The third is improving quality and productivity. How? For example, a particular employee, his or her productivity is on a downfall. Okay, the person, the employee is unable to provide the quality or proper productivity. Now, the importance of the organizational behavior is to understand why that person or why the employee's quality is degrading, why it is downgrading, why the productivity is not growing up. Why is it so? So there must be some of the other reason. When a person is being engaged, or if a person is being recruited to a particular company, at that point of time, obviously the productivity level or the quality level was pretty much high. But what happened in the due course of time that his or her quality and the productivity level went down? So there must be some sort of issues, and we have to look for the issue. Okay. Now let's say we will talk about two things which organizational behavior put much emphasis. One is sympathy and one is empathy. So there's a huge difference between empathy and sympathy. For example, the HR manager comes down to you and they ask you, okay, Mr. So and so, your data is your figures are going down. Your figures are going down, and if this continues, then I'm pretty sure that might create a problem for you in the future. Okay, so that is sympathy. Okay, the HR manager is least concerned what happens to you at your back, but you have to give the figures. That is important. Okay. Now on the another scenario, in a different company, an HR manager comes out to you and says, okay, what happened here? What's the problem? Why your productivity, why the figures are going down and down? Must be pretty, I'm very sure that there must be some sort of issues. What are those issues? If you can discuss with me, can we sort it out? Do you want to have a day off? You want to go on a vacation? Is there any sort of personal problem which I can sort it out? So that is empathy. Okay, the HR manager, he feels that yes, we have to show some sort of empathy towards the employee, okay, which is also one of the aspects of an organizational behavior. Okay, because everybody has problems. Every employee has problem, everybody has problems. So our problems definitely impacts our productivity, our quality, the way we work. Okay, so if that has been sorted out, if that can be sorted out, then definitely our productivity will enhance, our quality will advance, and that is what most of the organizations are looking for. I'll give you one more example. If you're working for an IT company, okay, if your spouse is working for another IT company, okay, the IT company will be more happy to bring you both onto board. Okay, even if you're working in a different city and your spouse is working in a different city, definitely they give you a lot of incentive to bring you both on board and onto the same office. Why is it so? Because they want to keep a work-life balance. Work-life balance is very important in today's life. Most of the people do not have work-life balance. We slowly, gradually, we are giving importance, but that wasn't the case few years back. We used to give very less importance to work-life balance. But these days, most of the global companies, most of the MNCs, they are giving much importance to work-life balance, which is one of the extremely important area of the employees' quality and productivity. The next is responding to labor shortages. Why there is a labor shortage? Okay, definitely people or employees, what they do is that they switch organizations. They switch from one companies to different companies. Why do they do so? Why do they do so? Well, it is very obvious that if you get a good package, if you get a good incentive, definitely you are going to switch over. But there is a term called employee retention management. Okay, in that, how you are going to retain your employee, that is one of the most important aspect. I mean, most of the human resource personals are working on it, that how we need to retain our employees. Okay, because there is a labor shortage everywhere. If you see in each and every field, each and every organization, you will see that there is a labor shortage. Okay, well, that's a different thing. Cost cutting, if you see, if there is a recession, definitely there are layoffs, there are retentions, and there are people are being laid off, and people have been moved out of the company forcibly. But still, if we analyze, we'll see that there is a labor shortage in particularly every company, every organization. So how to respond to labor shortages? That is also one of the importance of organizational behavior. The studies how we can minimize. We cannot remove the labor shortage completely, but at least we can minimize the labor shortage. Okay, now what is organizational behavior and why is it important? If we see in a layman term, we'll see that the success of any organization, okay, the success of any organization, it doesn't depend on the economics, it doesn't depend on the organizational development or marketing. Rather, it depends on simply the understanding of human psychology. If we are not able to understand our employees' psychology, employees' behavior, then obviously the organization is not going to run properly, and definitely it is going to be a failure in the long run. Okay, so that is why most of the personals, HR personals, are extremely sensitive towards the human psychology or the employee psychology working for their particular organizations. Okay, we are looking this. So improving customer service. So on an organization which is working particularly for the customer services or in the service sector, they have to be very much sensitive towards the customer service. Okay, and if we talk about any sector, like let's say the BPO sector, okay, or the IT service sector particularly, not the product sector, the service sector. So you will see that there are tremendous pressure on the staff, on the employees. So definitely they are not going to give you proper customer service. Okay. If you go to any any kind of organization where you will find that there are a lot of customers, it's not possible for them. They have got tremendous pressure to handle all those pressures, all the customers, to attend to all those customers. So it is not possible for them to give them like excellent services. So Some or the other way, you will find that the employees, they may make some sort of issues, they may create some sort of problems, and that is understandable, because they are facing with a lot of pressure. So the HR team, they must value their issues there, they must value the problems and must sort it out, so that customer service can be better. Okay, they can provide the best of the best customer service. Improving people's skills. How? If you are dealing in a public sector, if you are dealing in a public sector market, you will see that people skill is very important. How you need to deal with the people, how you need to deal with the public. Okay, very important. It is needless to mention, if you go to any bank, you'll find the what kind of people service or what kind of customer service you might face there, particularly if that is a public sector bank. Whereas on the contrary, if you go to a private bank, SDFC, ICIC, and many more, you will see that they have got excellent customer service skills. They have got excellent interpersonal skills, okay, relationship skills. So that should be in each and every organization. But the thing is that as because they are pretty much overburdened, the employees are overburdened, and the employees, they might be having some sort of organizational behavioral problems that should be sorted out. And the lastly, empowering people. Okay, how we need to empower people? If you see, most of the organizations these days, the multinational organization, they empower, they harness the skills, they put the employees into training, they put the employees into various kinds of workshops, various kinds of trainings, various kinds of higher studies. They're allowed to do that. Okay, so that will enhance their skills, that will enhance their skill sets, which is also important, okay, for any kind of organization. Now, organizational behavior also makes a roadmap, puts a roadmap to people's life in any kind of organization. Okay, we need to see the background of the people, whether there is an issue, whether there is a problem an employee is facing. So the organization must give its best and use all the resources so as to minimize the employees problem. Okay, now what are the scopes? What is the scope of organizational behavior? See, there are three types of behavior. One is individual behavior, the second is group behavior, and the third is organizational behavior. Organizational structure, its processes, and its various procedures. So the individual behavior, like a particular employee when working in an organization, and its behavior impacts the group behavior, and simultaneously the group behavior, it affects the organizational structure of the organization. Okay, so the individual behavior is of utmost importance, which affects the entire organization. So if we talk about the individual behavior, you'll see that personality plays a very important role in shaping your behavioral attitude. What kind of personality you are, the way you behave, the way you perform, the way you mix up with other employees. Okay, secondly, perception, what you perceive about the organization, what you perceive about the role you are playing, the job you have been given. So that also impacts an individual's behavior in an organizational setting. Thirdly, your attitude, the way you put your attitude into your work, that is also important. Next is motivation. Well, are you really motivated to work? Most of the organizations these days, they give a lot of motivations to their employees, which plays a very important role. Not only money or is the motivating factor in any organization. Rather than there are a lot of motivational factors which are being involved, which shapes your individual behavior in any organizational setting. Okay. Next is job satisfaction. Are you satisfied? As we have talked earlier, there has to be a balance between your work life and your personal life, or your work life balance. Is there a balance? If not, then there is a big problem these days. Okay. So how you will find yourself that you are satisfied? How you will find that you are your job is being satisfied to the utmost level? Okay. That also shapes the individual behavior. Learning values. When you join any organization, what kind of values you are inculcating within yourself? Whether you are having positive learning values, whether you are having negative values, that also shapes your behavior in an organizational setting. These are very important, because see, if we are ignoring the individual behavior, subsequently that is going to affect the group behavior, and subsequently that is going to affect the entire organizational structure. Okay, so that is a very basic unit. The employees plays a very basic unit in any kind of organizational setting. As family is the in any kind of society, if you see, family is the basic unit of a social structure, or the basic social institution. So similarly, an individual plays a very basic unit of an organization. So we should not ignore the individual behavior, which is directly going to hamper the organizational structure or organizational setting. Now, group behavior. What is group behavior? There are group dynamics, there are group conflicts, there are communication leaderships, and there are power and politics. So when there is a group, okay, in most of the organization, the leadership, they are adverse towards groupism. We cannot stop groupism though. Most of the organization, they have groupism, and somewhat it may not be termed as a negative term, but sometimes yes, they do play in a negative way, because there are group conflicts, there are communication problems, there are petty politics, okay, which also hampers the growth of any kind of organization. So we must deal strongly with this kind of groupism, which is going to affect any kind of organizational setting. So how the individual personality, individual behavior is going to affect the group behavior? I'll give you a very basic example. Okay. While working for an MNC, you will find that culture plays a very important role. Okay. Now there are people. Let's say there is a multinational company in Bangalore. Okay. You'll find that people from different parts of India, let's say people from Orissa, there will be a group together with the people of Orissa. You'll find people from different West Bengal. You'll find people from different states. There will be a groupism. Okay, there will be group conflicts. There will be communication issues. Okay, and they will akin towards their own groups, which is also some or the other way, which is very, very negative in the due course of time to achieve a organizational development. Okay, while we used to work in different organizations, there is a kind of rotation. Okay, like this is a desk, work desk. Nobody is assigned for a particular period, for an infinite period of time, that you are going to sit on that particular desk or you are going to work for that particular job. There's a job rotation. There's a job rotation. There is a desk rotation. For example, if you are sitting in a particular place, you might not sit in that particular place for that in the next week. Your seat may be changed. If you're working for a particular project, your project might be changed. Your task might be changed. Your job distribution might be changed. Okay, so that prevents groupism. That prevents the power conflict, that prevents the politics, the office politics within any organization. And lastly, the organization. Okay, organization. So what is the structure of an organization? What is the culture of an organization? Whether an organization is adaptive to change, whether an organization is really interested in development. Very important things. Why? The structure, the basic structure of the organization gives rise to the organizational development or the organizational behavior, attitudes. Okay, what kind of culture we are adopting? Okay, different. We are not going deep into that cultural aspect, because different organizations have got different kinds of culture, different kinds of structure. So that is purely up to the management of an organization, what kind of structure they want to follow or what kind of culture they want to follow in their particular organization. But that also significantly affects the organizational behavior of an organization. So they have to be very, very particular. They have to be very, very sensitive towards these issues. Next is change. We don't like change. Most of us, we don't like change. But change is inevitable. Particularly in any kind of organization, you will find that change is extremely important, and it is inevitable. It cannot be avoided, and it should not be avoided though. Okay. Why is it? Because particularly if we see the organizational settings in any kind of MNCs or any kind of IT sectors these days, you will find that a lot of changes are coming. Lot of changes are coming due to multiple workforce, due to multiple challenges. We should be adaptive to changes, and the employees should be well trained to those changes. If we are not adaptive to those changes, if you are not trained to those changes, then definitely there is a big problem, because that is going to hamper our productivity. That is going to hamper the entire organizational productivity, and subsequently the development or the growth might be stopped, or that may be hampered. So change management is one of the important aspects of any kind of organizational behavior these days, which we cannot overlook. Next. Okay. So I believe that we have already we have completed all the slides. We have gone through all the slides. So today's class we have gone through the what is an organizational organization, what is an organizational behavior, what are the importance of organizational behavior, what are the elements of organizational behavior, how do we understand the organizational behavior, and whether the relevance of organizational behavior in today's world, in an organizational setting. So I believe we have completed all those in today's class. Next class will be going towards the various aspects of organizational behavior, how it is impacting in an organization. That's all for today. Thank you.